Namaste, beautiful coven. Welcome back to the mat and welcome to today's really gorgeous practice as we celebrate and honor as an online community the wonder that is Imbolc. So Imbolc is the midway point now between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It is a time of awakening, of purification, of cleansing, of ridding ourselves of any stagnant energy and kind of like nature around us, shaking off that snow and that hibernation feeling before coming out back into the light. So to honor today's practice, we haven't done a long yin in a while. Today we're going to be working through a 1 hour yin and restorative practice. Taking things so slow today, easing ourselves out of that hibernation, out of that rest kind of period. And alongside today's practice, I have some journal prompts for you. So today, I actually invite you to listen to these journal prompts and reflect on them during your practice. Not necessarily writing them down, really reflecting on them and then maybe writing down your answers later on in a physical journal if you do have one. So I will speak the journal prompts out loud. They will also be on the screen for the remainder of the kind of pose, if that makes sense. So you can always just look up if you don't hear my little Welsh accent. But it's going to be a really gorgeous practice. In addition to today's practice, I have included such a beautiful playlist over on my Spotify, which I am listening to, and I'm currently obsessed with. I'm obsessed with it. I listen to it before I go to bed, and it makes me feel all calm and at peace, and I really hope you enjoy it. So you can find a link to that Spotify just below, also over on the email. So you can press pause now, find it if you like. But we're going to begin straight away today in a supported back bend. So finding your blocks, finding your bolster, you're going to place one block on top of the other or a few books to give yourself a bit of support. I'm going to place the bolster on top. So from here, we're going to bend into the knees as we start to relax back. And we're just going to keep those knees bent for a moment. Walking the feet wider than hips width apart, flipping the palms to the sky, rolling shoulders away from the ears. Coming into this practice today with a beautiful deep breath in through the nose and a slow breath all the way out. And spending the first few moments of our practice here just tuning into that breath, calming down the nervous system. Taking slow inhales and slow exhales. So connecting with the lungs, opening up that heart chakra immediately in our practice today. Like I said, Imbolc is a time of awakening, of cleansing, of shaking off stagnant energy. So let's begin to open up that heart and shake off any emotions from our rest period, our hibernation time. So we can move into the light with clarity and with space to fill. Tuning into the sound of the music. Perhaps you're picking up on the sounds of the storms outside here in Wales, the country of never-ending rain so far. Feeling your body begin to melt into this pose. then from here, we're going to begin to deepen this pose slightly by walking the feet into the center. And this time we bring the bottom of the feet to touch and allow the knees full open to the side. If this feels way too intense, you can pop some extra blocks or pillows underneath the knees, or you can simply bring the legs to touch and walk the feet wider. But giving yourself a moment to get yourself comfortable as we move into the first journal prompt to reflect upon. So if you want to write it down physically, you can do so. And the first one is, Imbolc is a time of awakening. What awakens your spirit? Perhaps a person, a situation, a weather, a hobby, anything at all, anything. Reflect upon it here as we stay in Baddha Konasana and our heart opener for 2 more minutes. One more minute. And before all together, we inhale and we exhale. Moving with care, especially if your legs are in Baddha Konasana, we're slowly going to bring the knees to touch. Straight away from here, using the hands engaged in that core, we're going to tuck chin to chest and roll the body up, immediately coming into an angel pose. So wrapping your arms around the legs or wrapping your arms underneath the legs. Just round into the shoulders, relax the head down, so giving yourself a kuch, a cuddle, a bit of self-love, gratitude, all those good things. Giving ourselves the love not only for coming to the mat today, but making it through these darker months, especially if you found it difficult or overwhelming, or you've got a little bit lost in the darkness. See that light at the end of the tunnel. See the sunshine breaking through the clouds, breaking up that darkness as we move into spring. And then from here, we slowly begin to lift the head, and immediately we're going to allow the knees to fall over to the right hand side. Moving our legs, so our legs are kind of in 90-degree position. We're going to move those blocks from just underneath. Of course, if you find having the blocks away is too much for the chest, you can keep them there. But we're going to move into a restorative twist. So bring that bolster in to the top of the left hip. Hands come to frame it. As all together we inhale. On your exhale, going to flip your gaze to the left-hand side and begin to relax down. So getting yourself comfortable here, starting to relax. Coming to reflect upon the second journal prompt is, what seeds are you planting for the lighter months? Contemplating on where it is you'd like to go, what it is you'd like to grow. Picture those seeds now. Doesn't mean you have to have planted them already. Reflect on what it is you are going to plant. 2 minutes here. Keep breathing here. Allow your body to melt into this twist, opening up that spine. Imagine you're stretching out from your deep winter rest. 10 more breaths. Together, we inhale and we exhale. On your next breath, we slowly begin to lift the head, lift the chest, And as you do, you're going to stretch the right hand down towards the back of the mat and pull the left arm up and overhead. So opening up that side body, holding for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful. To transition to the other side, you're simply going to move your knees towards the back of your mat and take your knees to the right hand side. Or the left hand side, whichever side you didn't just do. Now, bolster is coming in to the top of the right hip. As all together we inhale, find length. Exhale, take your gaze to the opposite direction of your knees, coming into your supported twist. Maybe having an extra block underneath the bolster for a bit of support. Maybe working without. No journal prompt here. We just relax. 2 minutes. I'm going to try my hardest not to fall asleep, because this playlist is my sleep playlist. And it works every time. 1 more minute. Five breaths. Together, we inhale. Oh, that storm was bad. On your exhale, pressing the hands to the earth, we begin to slowly, slowly, slowly roll the body up. This time, left hand reach towards the back of the mat. Pull right arm up and overhead to find that side body stretch as we inhale. On your exhale, from here we're going to move into a sleeping banana pose, one of my favorite restorative yoga poses. So you're going to allow the knees to fall back over to the right hand side. Now with this bolster, you're going to bring it across the mat, making sure that you have one block stacked up on top of the other. If you have practiced me before, then you might have done this pose with me. But with the knees to the right hand side, we're going to bring that left arm between the bolster and the blocks. Now, if those blocks are cork blocks like mine, they feel uncomfortable, you can place a blanket on top. But you're going to get yourself as comfortable as you possibly can here. Perhaps that right arm floats forwards, by your side, overhead. Take a little bit of a wiggle to get comfortable here. Now, many do enjoy this pose, like me, because it is a sleeping pose. It's a gorgeous pose that allows us to go into a real state of relaxation because it mimics to us how many of us sleep. But it's also a pose used for anxiety as it really compresses into the side body and makes us aware of how we're breathing. So tune into the breath here. No journal prompt. Just enjoy the pose. Maybe you really do feel that state of relaxation. Like if this video were to stop and the world went silent, you could fall asleep. So if you see some bad editing, it's probably because I fell asleep in this pose. Two more minutes. Now for the final 10 breaths, gorgeous Coven. You might choose to stay here, or you might move one of those blocks away and relax the head a little bit further down so you start to stretch the neck. You might even find it comfortable to move both blocks away. Before all together we inhale and we exhale. On your next breath, we we very, very gently press into that left elbow to lift up. If those blocks are away, you're going to place them back here. And keeping the eyes closed, the head heavy, like you were just simply rolling over in sleep. You're going to bend into the knees and roll all the way over now to the other side. So the right arm comes between the bolster and the blocks. Get yourself comfortable and relax here. So it might feel quite strange for a moment. Simply because we spent so long on the other side, that can feel a little bit intense. But getting yourself as comfortable as possible, taking as much movement as you need. Staying here for a little while longer. Maybe this is the first time you found peace in a little while because of life, children, animals, anxieties, fears. Embrace it, welcome it. Taking this sense of restoration from our rest into the lighter spring months. One more minute. If you'd like to move any of those blocks away, you are more than welcome to. Before all together we inhale and we exhale. This time we're going to press into that right elbow, lifting the head up, and start to roll the body up. Taking as much movement as you need to come and meet me gently into a tabletop position. Now from here, we're going to move those blocks forward, move the bolster forwards, And start to take some gorgeous cat-cows. Inhaling to drop the chest. Exhale to curve. Beautiful. Giving those hips a little wiggle from side to side. And then from here, we're going to meet in sleeping swan, pigeon pose, opening up those hips. So from here, we slide right knee to the right wrist, wiggle the right foot across. Tuck left toes under to slide the leg back, giving yourself space. Now, if you find that right hip's high to the sky, I really invite you to pop a block underneath, so it just gives you a bit of support. Maybe you work with the bolster, maybe you work without, but come to relax all the way down. Oh, my hips are so tight. You might find, like me, that this colder months have really played havoc with those hips, so begin to relax it here. As we then come on to the third journal prompt and reflection for our practice today, which is, what are you welcoming into your space during spring? Again, maybe a feeling, maybe an emotion, a situation, a dream, anything. Reflect on it now, picturing it so clearly in your mind. What you think, you attract. Change the narrative, bring it to you. Resting here in pigeon pose for about 3 minutes. If you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable in this pose, make any adjustments that you need to support yourself, even coming to lie flat down on the back. But give yourself a few more minutes here. Ten more breaths. All together, Coven, we inhale. And we exhale. On your next breath, my loves, moving with care. You're going to press the hands down to the earth and lift up the chest, maybe opening the heart ever so slightly. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And then on your breath out, we move the block under the hip. We move that bolster forwards and take your leg stretch. Oh my God. Maybe toes to the mat, press the heel back, maybe stretch out and down dog. You know what feels good. And then when you're ready, gently meet me back in tabletop, darlings, and we're going to take it to the other side. So you know your body's boundaries, you are your best teacher. If this side feels way too uncomfortable, come take it flat on the back and come into a figure of four. If it feels okay, bring the left knee to the left wrist, wiggle the right leg back. Pop that block underneath the hip, and then give yourself a moment here. Then give yourself a moment here. When I say moment, I mean 3 minutes. As we move on to the fourth journal prompt for today's practice, which is, what has winter allowed you to embrace? You might find that you flourished during this winter months. You might find that maybe you struggled a little bit. Think here. You can distinguish between whether you're thriving or surviving, and there's no judgment or pressure either way. We're all so different. Reflect on this question. What has winter allowed you to embrace? One more minute. Before all together, darlings, we inhale. And we exhale. From here, we gently press down to the earth and lift the chest up. Perhaps coming to that mini back bend here, open up the heart as we inhale. And then on your exhale, we slide the block from underneath the hip, move the bolster away, and come to take your hamstring stretch. Maybe in tabletop, maybe in down dog, maybe any movement that feels good to you. And then from here, we relax back to tabletop. We're going to bring the knees to touch, tuck toes under. And we're going to move into a strange little restorative pose, which is rabbit. So sit the hips back to the heels, and you can bring the top of the head or the forehead down to the mat. Round as much as you can to the shoulders, and send the hands down to find the outside of the feet or the ankles. Maybe finding stillness, maybe finding a rock from side to side. Just briefly easing out the spine, easing out that lower body and the hips, even get a gorgeous toe stretch here. Remembering if the toe stretch feels too much, untuck them. Before we inhale to lift the gaze, on your exhale, keeping the chest low, begin to almost like a pouncing cobra, slide the body forwards, moving onto the forearms and extend the legs behind you, pointing the toes to the back corners of your mat and meeting me in your Sphinx pose. Before we come to hold Sphinx pose, we're going to take a lovely little stretch. So we're going to bring, if you can see on the camera, we are going to bring the left hand into the center of the mat and bend into the right leg. Take hold of the foot and start to squeeze the heel a little bit closer towards the hip. So stretching out those quads, stretching out the lower body. Holding for 3, for 2, and 1. Relax the right leg down. We reset in Sphinx, and then from here, pivot the right hand to the center of the mat to give you that support. Take hold of the left knee and squeeze heel towards the hip. Holding for 3. Holding 2. And 1. Relax it down. Reset in Sphinx and find a lift through the heart as we move on to the final journal prompt for today's practice. Today, I invoke the spirit of spring by ... How are you welcoming in the light today? Maybe it's through your movement, through your breath, through changing the narrative, changing your mindset a little bit away from winter. There is no right or wrong answer. But staying here in Sphinx pose for about a minute, reflecting on this question. before all together we inhale and we exhale. From your Sphinx pose, we bring one hand to the center, bring another on top. Wiggle so the big toes come to touch, heels fall to one side, lift the elbows and relax down, resetting the body in crocodile pose. Feeling your heartbeat against the earth, your breath. Embracing that feeling of the midway point between winter and spring. Embracing being here in the present moment. And then from here, you're going to begin to roll the body all the way onto your back. Hugging the knees to the chest in almost like a reverse child's pose here. Giving yourself a hug, giving yourself a little bit of love. Before we relax, feet flat to the mat, knees to touch, and walk the feet wide. Hand to the belly, moving into the final pose of Shavasana. Now, if the playlist hasn't quite reached it yet, you're going to look for the song Harry on your Spotify playlist for our Shavasana. Take as much wriggles as you need. Before we come into this final pose with a beautiful, deep, grateful, joyful, positive inhale in through the nose. And a slow exhale all the way out, cleansing your energies and allow yourself to get lost in the music. We're going to take the Shavasana in silence, tuning into the sound of the music, allowing it to drift you away. at the sound of the gong, you're going to guide yourselves back into the physical body by taking a beautiful deep breath in through the nose and a slow breath all the way out. Beginning to bring movements back to the fingers, to the toes. Maybe even reaching your arms up and overhead for one final full body stretch. Before bending into the knees, we roll the body to one side, hands in prayer, come underneath the head like a little pillow. Giving ourselves a moment to come back into the space of the room. From here, we slowly begin to lift the body up, taking as much movement as we need. Rolling shoulders away from the ears. Relaxing our hands to the lap. Giving ourselves a few moments to ground, to simply be. And then when you're ready, blink your eyes open, drop chin to chest, and bow with gratitude to the strength of our minds for not only coming to the mat, but for coming through winter, to those in this online coven for their friendship and support through the darker months, and from me to you, thanking you for allowing me into your yoga journey and allowing me to guide you through this Imbolc flow. I truly hope at the end of this flow you feel relaxed and you feel stretched and you feel just in peace in your physical body and most importantly in your spiritual body. Imbolc is a really beautiful time. It's a reminder of the kind of conquering of nature of our spirits through the darker months and into the lighter months, starting to feel that sunshine on our skin, starting to see nature awaken around us and starting to feel inspired with our own journey. I would love to know how you got on today. Comment below, send me a message. And I really hope you come back to these journal prompts now, maybe physically writing them down or physically speaking them out loud with the rest of your coven members. But it was such an honour to flow with you today, and I look forward to seeing you back here on the mat very soon. Blessed be Om Coven.